Dear Pat Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pat's Nation. Nation. Yeah. It's Dear Pat's Nation. Nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pat's Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go. Because it's Dear Pat's Nation. What's going on? It's your boy, Ray. Toronto's pride and joy. And, of course, I'm with my man, the Boston heartthrob, the resident angry nerd, Mr. Producer Mike. Welcome to Dear Pat's Nation. Apologies that we're a day late and half an hour and a half late, I guess. A day, an hour and a half late. Got fires I'm trying to put out all over the place, Mike, so I had to come in late. Patriots did stuff, World Baseball Classic, all this kind of good stuff happening. Darius chose to retire than play for the Buffalo Bills. Jalen Waddle may have made Denver the best team in football. A lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. But, Mike, if you will, indulge me just a little bit. I would like to speak about the World Baseball Classic if I can.
Yes, we are Dear Bats Nation for about the next 10 minutes.
Yes. Now, Mike and I have been heavily invested into the WBC. We text about it all the time. I, of course, was cheering for Canada. He was cheering for the United States of America. And as some people may know, the Dominican Republic has a special place in my heart. It is my official home away from home. I've been going to the Dominican Republic since I was 17 years old. Nobody needs to do the math about how long that's been. But what people should know is 21 years ago, I met a girl there, married her there. It's where I met my wife. She's Canadian, not Dominican. We were just in Dominican in February. So my second team was Dominican, had nothing to do with their roster, even though Vlad Guerrero Jr. was on there. So I tell you all that because I had some rooting interest in this tournament. Here's what I want to say, Mike. I think that the World Baseball Classic has been an absolute hit. As we speak right now, Venezuela and the USA are tied 0-0. In somewhat of a surprising championship. I don't think anybody had Venezuela being here. However, Canada, who played really, really well in this tournament, Dominican and USA obviously playing the semifinals, would have been a great finals. Of course, Japan, surprising exit. It's been a good tournament. And then the boys from New York City, New York, who were and Toronto, Ontario, who were representing Italy, Team Italy, who had one Italian-born player on the team. Of course, lost to Venezuela last night, though it looked like those Mungie Cakes and those little chuchas were maybe going to pull it off there for a little bit.
Yeah, they were doing pretty good, and then just kind of fell apart. Or I guess you could say Venezuela kind of took the game over. Probably a better way to put it.
Yeah, in about the fifth inning, the hit parade started, and then it was kind of over after that. Now, so I want to start with last Friday, Canada versus USA or quarterfinal game. Mike and I are talking smack back and forth, but as Michael knew, I had very little faith in Canada beating the United States. I was just happy for the first time in the WBC history that Canada made it out of the group stage and made it to the knockout rounds. And to me, had a little bit of a poor draw having to play the U.S. Imagine winning your division only to be rewarded with having to play who's probably going to be the eventual champions unless Venezuela pulls off the unthinkable and beats the U.S. tonight. I had very little faith. The game turned out to be really good after looking like the U.S. was going to run away with it, making it 5-1. Canada makes it 5-3, gives me a little bit of false hope. Second and third with nobody out is going to haunt Canadians for at least the next 3 years until the WBC starts again. Anywho, the game, though, that we were all waiting for came on Sunday night when the USA played the Dominican Republic. Now, some would say hosted the Dominican Republic because the game was in Houston. However, if you watch the game, you would have sworn it was in Santo Domingo because the Dominicans were rocking. The U.S. fans tried to get USA chants started, and the Dominicans just completely drew them out. The U.S. set records for runs scored, Dominicans set records for runs scored. They were absolutely phenomenal, and throughout this entire tournament, the game finishes 2-1 USA. Disappointed? Yes. Mike, happy? Yes. However, there's a big caveat that I have to put in here, and an asterisk that is going to circle and enclose this game forever. Now, the U.S. held the Dominican to 1 run. 1 pitch and 1 strike is not the difference. But even the most casual baseball fan was waiting for Dominican versus U.S. And I think it's fair to say it lived up to every expectation that we expected. It was tense. Every pitch felt like Game 7 of the World Series. It was just, and for me, being a defensive guy, whether in baseball, football, I love a good defensive game and a pitcher's duel. A 2-1 game in a semifinals, which could have been a final. Fabulous. Let me tell you what's wrong with baseball.
Oh boy, here we go.
Now, one thing that these world tournaments do, it happens in soccer when the World Cup comes around, and it's kind of happened in the Olympics when people who have never watched hockey in their life suddenly are lifelong USA hockey fans who know everything about the game.
Yeah, yes, I am.
But you've been supporting them for at least 3 months.
Yeah, about that.
But it happens. World tournaments bring on casual viewers. Now, as a baseball fan and a baseball guy, I embrace it. If it brings more fans to the game, then bring them to the game. But what we saw in the USA versus Dominican is what's been the problem in professional baseball forever. It's the reason that they had to bring in ABS technology for this season, where you're actually allowed to challenge the home plate umpire on balls and strikes. And why it was not implemented into the WBC makes zero sense to me. But the final at bat of the game, the Dominican has the tying run on base. The winning run is at the plate. Mason Miller is an absolute stud, 103, 104, 105 miles per hour. Nobody has seen that kind of power. But if there was any team that could hit Mason Miller, it would probably be the Dominican. Tensions are high. The chest is pounding. 3-2 count. Mason Miller throws a ball that is still digging into the ground. And it's a called strike 3. It has been, Mike, a long time, probably since the 2018 Patriots, that I have been angry and screaming at the television, like screaming. I screamed at the announcers who said that's too close not to swing when it was 2 feet out of the strike zone. USA manager Mark DeRosa said he's a big fan of the ABS challenge. He said it should be implemented in WBC. He absolutely knows that that ball was not a strike. Now, Mike, you know me. When I watch a sporting event, no matter how mad, how frustrated, how disappointed, no matter what happens, I'm usually over in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, about that.
And I walked away over it after I screamed at the television, and I mean screamed, dude, like screamed. Threw my Dominican hat across the room. 10 minutes later, it was over. It was finished. Then I went on X, formerly known as Twitter. And the entire narrative around that game was that final pitch. On the world stage, on the biggest stage, the game that would have brought in more eyes than this finals tonight, believe me, it would have. And it did. A lot of casual baseball fans got to experience what us everyday baseball fans get to experience, and it's horrible umpires who have no consistent strike zone. And I think it was a bad look for the game. Let me be clear. The results don't matter. I'm not going to say that bad strike had any impact on the game besides it being the last pitch of the game. At the end of the day, the Dominican, who have been electric behind the plate, scored 1 run. 1 run, Mike.
Yep.
Credit to the USA. Won that game fair and square. Mike, I tell you all the time, I will never blame a referee or an umpire for a game. Ever. Because at the end of the day, the Dominican allowed that bad strike to impact the result.
Right.
How about bases loaded, 1 out, you score a run? How about Tatis Jr. doesn't test Aaron Judge's arms, probably one of the best arms in baseball, and get, lasered out at third base in the 4th inning, which, by the way, to me, turned that whole game around. How about 2nd and 3rd in the 7th inning and then loading the bases? You don't leave everybody stranded. So I will not look at you, Mike, and say that Parramatta watching the ball hit the ground almost and taking the strike, which should have been a ball. I'm not saying that is the reason the U.S. won and never will. But what I will say is Major League Baseball umpires have been a joke for a long time. And they make the game about themselves. And on a game that more people were watching than any game anybody's going to watch this season was the conversation about the U.S. shutting down the most prolific ball club we've ever seen. Was the talk about we got to watch $400 million in salary play.
Right.
Did we talk about how 2 juggernauts slugged it out and we could have watched that game 5 times and been right into it? Those are 2 teams, a 7-game series would have been phenomenal. Is that what the talk has been? Has that been the conversation? No. Do you want to know what the headline on Sportsnet here in Toronto was? Dominican Republic WBC loss to U.S. ends on a called strike that appeared low. That comes from the Associated Press. Ugh. That is the headline of this game. So I'm not here mad that the Dominican lost because they lost. The U.S. beat them. I'm mad that yet again the umpires have made the game about themselves, and a professional umpire who cannot see a strike zone whatsoever. And I don't care. Oh, he framed it really. Smith framed it really well. That's what DeRosa said. By the way, DeRosa played for the Blue Jays. I love Mark DeRosa. Mark DeRosa was a fan favorite here. He was here during that run in 2015 when Jose Bautista flipped the bat. But that's what we've seen. One other point I want to make. This is for baseball purists. Now, I'm going to be 40 years old this year. I've been watching baseball since I came out of the womb. I watched the 1992-1993 World Series. I bandwagoned the Yankees in 1999 as a young kid. I've been there, done that. I've watched every WBC tournament, watched every game from the WBC since its inception, I think in 2006 or 2005, whatever year it came out. I have been a fan of baseball my entire life. Baseball purists that seem to have a problem with people flipping the bat and, God forbid, having fun are the weirdest fucking people on the planet and need to just fuck off. Honest to God, I cannot get over how mad people get because baseball players who were playing a game that literally little children all over the world play every day, God forbid, show some emotion and have some fun during the game. You know what, Mike? The USA is a great team, but they're boring to watch. They're just these meat robots that walk out and, I'm Aaron Judge, I hit football. Like, God forbid they don't have a little fun. Like, God forbid in a game, Mike, a game where you hit a ball with a stick. Okay, you hit a ball with a stick. God forbid the guys throw it around, dance around, wear a jacket, wear a necklace, have some fun, push a cart if you're a Boston Red Sox fan. The Boston Red Sox in 2004, whenever they broke the curse. In 2004, when they broke the curse, and I was pissed when the Boston Red Sox won the championship. Do you know what I loved about that team? They had fun. Johnny Damon, Kevin Youkilis, David Ortiz, the beards and the hair and the fun and the jokes. Got a little crazy when Josh Beckett was drinking beer in the dugout later on, but I'm saying they had and eating fried chicken, but they had fun. There's nothing wrong with baseball players having fun. The fucking hockey players have the same attitude. Don't react to a goal. Don't show any emotion. Be a robot. It's a game, guys. This is a game that fat, overweight, middle-aged men will meet up on a Thursday night, drink 40 beers, and play baseball. Guess what?
It's true.
Flip that fucking bat and have some fucking fun. And all you baseball purists and Goss Goosage fucking Bowers can go fuck right off.
Did you listen to Boston radio this week?
No, why? Were they talking about the same thing?
Yeah, but it was the exact opposite. They were like, the rest of the world expects us to have fun. Like, what if we don't want to have fun? What if we just want to play?
What if we just want to be miserable? What if we just want to be robots? Like, was it not fun watching the Dominican players? Like, be honest.
Either way, it doesn't bother me. If you want to act like it's like you're there to do something,
okay, fair,
like
fine,
that's fine. But like when somebody else, and you're right, this is totally a criticism. It's always a criticism of the team on the other side too. It doesn't matter where you're from if the other team is having fun. Right, because the Patriots used to do this to everyone else. They used to be like, we don't need to have fun. Winning is fun. And it's like, no, it's fun to have fun along the way, too. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And then we found out after that they had a lot more fun than we thought they did. It wasn't just, they had a persona in front of the media.
Right.
But then you had like Randy Moss throwing Halloween skating parties and just like
that was
everything
also
else.
Not if you want to talk about like a revelation, like that wasn't the reason they won either. It wasn't the reason they like being grumpy wasn't the reason they won.
No, they
the best quarterback.
So they had the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
Yeah.
That was probably a reason. And at one time, the greatest coach to ever coach. Like you had a dynamic duo of two of the greatest to ever do it. And then they threw a big meathead lug in there that caught some footballs and a little squirrel that went from quarterback. Like that's my whole thing, though. If the U.S. wants to be boring, Mike, be boring. You're right. I won't criticize it. Take care of business.
But don't criticize the other team for having fun.
And I don't think the players are. I don't think the players have a problem with it at all. It's the fucking baseball purist. Yeah. It's these guys that are sitting in Boston with stomachs out to here who literally love to have fun, don't want other people to have fun. You know what, Mike? I go to work and have fun and I joke around and I have fun at work. Like I don't go to work like a role like I'm here just to work. Give me keyboard. I type all day. I make money for company. We have fun. Now you're IT. IT guys don't have fun. But but unless you're IT, literally IT and accountants in the IT division are literally baseball purists.
Actually, no, I'll put it this way. Our fun is like reveling in everybody else's misery. Like, oh, your stuff is broken and you think we're going to get to you right away? There aren't 40 people in front of you. Yeah, let me drop what I'm doing and get to you.
I'm just saying, guys, have a little bit, like, let dudes have fun. If you want to flip bats and, and maybe this is my Blue Jay fan in me. Maybe this is Jose Bautista and his epic backflip from 2015. Everybody heard that, the backflip that was heard around the world. That was actually, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you want some real inside baseball? The very next day, I'm listening to a sports commentator here in Toronto named Dean Blundell. And he had Goose Gossage on the radio. And he just and Gossage was a very big, purist in baseball who, I can't believe what Jose Bautista's doing, blah, 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 mockery of the game, whatever. And Blundell just shredded him to parts. Dean Blundell, and the way his treatment of Goose Gossage on that game influenced a podcaster who would then go on to build a pretty successful brand talking about the New England Patriots.
Who's that?
He would then also go on to work for Dean Blundell after as well, and things worked a little bit differently there. But it all stemmed from the Jose Bautista bat flip. And I'm just getting really tired of, like, this isn't how guys played the game. It's also not 1964 anymore.
Okay, you know what? That, and this does speak to baseball just for a second. Like, don't forget, this is the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's like, oh well, if you don't dress up in a suit and tie and blah, like we don't want to hear from you. Exactly. Like it's not 1890 anymore. Like
I'm literally right here, right now, live streaming on the internet with my friend from Boston while I'm sitting here just outside of Toronto, streaming the baseball game on my smartphone, all simultaneous while I have my draft board up on the screen beside me. This is the world that we live in. We evolve. If you want to sit there with your rotary phone listening to the baseball game with an announcer saying, make sure you get your Cracker Jacks when you watch this game, you go right ahead. I'll tell you what, I want to watch baseball in 2026. I want to go pay $130 to sit in the 200 levels in the outfield. Guess what? I want to see the guys have some fun. I don't want to just watch 9 robots on the field going, we play baseball, we hit ball, we throw ball. Game over.
Can I put the shoe on the other foot too? And I'll use the Patriots as an analogy again.
Yes, sir.
Like if Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, he might be a bad example because he was always having fun at his own pace. But like,
which he shouldn't have done that. They would have won more Super Bowls if Gronk didn't have fun.
If Tom Brady was out there like having fun and Julian Edelman, the Patriots fans that are like, oh, having no fun is like this badge of honor, they would have been like, yeah, we're the most fun team and we win and we're still the best. Ha! Like,
exactly. Anyways, that's just great game, great tournament. Looks like it's a great final right now. And, best of luck to Venezuela, and I hope the USA loses. But besides that,
yikes.
No. But honestly, best of luck to both teams. By the time most people watch this, the game will probably be over. Having 0 viewers right now while this game is on doesn't surprise me whatsoever. There's a lot of crossover with our fan base and baseball, so I'm sure they're all watching it. At the end of the day, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you like watching robots with no personality, go ahead. Give me Barry Bonds every day of the week. By the way, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, and Pete Rose are all Hall of Famers and should be in the Hall of Fame. It's why I think Cooperstown is a joke. I think it's an absolute joke. Big Poppy's the best player to ever play the game. Coming from a Blue Jay, former Yankee fan.
There you go.
Anyways, frustrating weekend for me, Mike. Canada loses on Friday, Dominican on Sunday, and the worst pitch. Mike decided to talk shit at the exact worst moment to me during the game as well. And he got a little bit of a blasting coming back on the other side.
So
you texted me as I was screaming at the television. Like you couldn't have texted "Let's go" to me at the worst fucking possible moment.
I do know how to needle you just a little bit.
I was so worked up, and then all of a sudden I look at my phone. I just see I literally got texts from people that are like, "This is bullshit. What the fuck?" Blah, blah. Like baseball fans here, like, "What the fuck?" And then I'll just see, "Let's go." Across my phone.
Well, how much stake I would have in this? If you weren't paying attention,
zero.
Little.
Very little.
Not zero. Very little.
You told me you were getting back into baseball for the first time in forever.
Yeah, but it's spring baseball. I don't normally,
Oh, I am just itching. Like a lot of people don't know this about me. You do. But a lot of people don't know that I'm actually a big baseball guy. Actually, the one thing that I will always give Dean the kudos for was he let me cover baseball for the Blundell Network and Crier. I was never allowed to cover baseball at Colorcast and Sportscaster. They only wanted me talking football. And when I said to Dean, I want to cover the Blue Jays, he's like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, I love baseball. And I got to talk to John Gibbons and I got to put him in my magazine. And it was just like, I hit some bucket list stuff, because of Blundell. I'll always give him credit for that. But yeah, like I'm a baseball guy and I am itching for baseball, especially with the Jays going to the World Series last year and going to Game 7, that heartbreak loss. I'm just itching for this season to start right now. I've been watching spring training. I've literally been watching like boring ass spring training games.
Well, what's funny is like me and a buddy were talking about this last night. So I grew up in like the golden age of like Boston sports, right? Like when I was old enough to not only follow but like understand what was going on, like the Red Sox started winning, obviously the Patriots were winning, and like I don't tell many people this.
Bruins.
Yeah, the Red Sox were my like first team that I paid attention to. Now slowly, you know, the Patriots just took over, and you know they've kind of cleaned up baseball a little bit. I won't say they've gotten all the way there, but that's one of my biggest things about baseball that I've talked to you about is football just gets you so much more invested, right? Because of game scarcity. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna turn on a game like a midday game on a Thursday at work. Like I just can't. You know what I mean?
So something I think a lot of people, like our definite OG fans will know, maybe any new fans don't know, I have ADHD. I have the attention span of a goldfish. I actually watch a lot of sports in 30. I don't know if you guys have that in the US, but like here in Canada.
Like a hot, yeah.
Yeah, we have like the Blue Jays in 30 and this and that. Because the investment for me to sit down and watch a 3-hour anything is hard. Even football.
Yeah.
Like even football, dude, like it's hard for me to stay engaged for an entire game, like where my brain is just, you know, squirreling all over the place. I'm doing things on my phone. Mike's texting me like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" I look up and the Patriots scored 2 touchdowns. I didn't even notice because I was like doing other things. Like my ADHD brain just goes crazy. That's why I could never imagine being a Boston Red Sox fan. We're like almost every game is like 4 hours long. Like it's like you guys they play such slow baseball.
Yeah, that was one of the things that killed it for me. Like as I got more into football, it's like it's once a week. I can sit down and pay attention to one game. And the Red Sox, it's just like, oh, there's so much. So but like playoff baseball is great, just like playoff hockey, but everything else, it's like there's too many games. There's too many freaking games. Like football, I feel like almost spoils you in that regard because they're like, there's only 16 of these. There's only 17 of these. There might be 18 of these. Like,
do you want to hear how the Boston Red Sox almost got me expelled from high school?
Oh, that's going to be a good one. I don't think I've ever heard it.
2004, grade 12, last year of high school, second semester.
Yeah.
We're in a midterm exam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's first semester. Sorry, it's first semester. We're in a midterm exam. Teacher says to us, under no circumstances does anybody speak. If you speak, you will get a 0 and you will be disciplined and sent to the office, right? Took exams very serious, at least in my high school. And I think they take them serious in Canada. Okay? Yeah. So we all sit down. I have ADHD. It's very important to the story. About halfway through the exam, I turned to the guy beside me. We're not even friends. And look at him and go, "Can you believe that Ortiz hit that fucking home run last night?" The tie of the game. And I say it loud. A dude at the other side of the room turns to me and goes, "Fuck the Yankees." Right? And all of a sudden, every guy in the classroom is talking about the baseball game because the night before was the epic Ortiz home run to tie up the game. And I get sent down to the office, and the principal was literally discussing possible expulsion because I caused such a disruption during this exam because my ADHD brain and David Ortiz meshed together into one explosion, and I had the entire classroom disrupted talking about Yankees, Red Sox, ALCS.
Good job. Well done.
So that was like, again, baseball's ingrained in my blood. And one thing that baseball, I know that was a football show, we will get to football, but one thing, again, that's been my complaint about baseball for a long time was they were refusing to grow as a sport. And ratings were dying. I love the pitch clock. I love the different things they're doing. I love speeding up the game. However, where I am a baseball purist, I hate instant replay. I hate it to the 9th degree. Like, I don't care if the guy's foot was a centimeter off the bag, like where you got to look at it in 40 different angles. Like, I'm going to be real with you. I think instant replay outside of football, I don't find it that like it's real bad in football.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's a soccer fan. Try celebrating a goal in soccer anymore. Bayern Munich on the weekend had 2 goals taken back because of instant replay. And I mean, and we were talking about, and then they should have lost in the last minute and a half. Leverkusen scores a goal. Dude, the guy was offside. I'm not kidding you. No thicker than a pen. Like, that was the margin of error of this offside. And I'm just like, I would have rather Bayern just lost the game.
Right.
And I find in baseball, it's the same. I find that it's instant replay has just ruined it. The only thing I'm a fan of is being able to challenge balls and strikes, because I think that's where the most egregious errors happen. I don't like this nickel and diming instant replay. I think it slows down the game. But to me, the faster you can play a game, the better. Maybe that's why I like pitchers duels, because there's not a lot of hits and it's just, in and out innings. But I'll tell you right now, I'm sitting here watching the game, 3rd inning, 1-0 Venezuela. Every pitch matters. I know it's March, but there's nothing better than a game like this, and with all the stakes. And I'm gonna tell everybody, even if you're not a baseball fan, I want you to do this. This summer, I want you to go sit in your backyard or your balcony, whatever you can in your domicile where you can be outside. I want you to go outside. I don't care what you do. Pour a coffee, pour an espresso, pour a beer, whatever you want to do. Enjoy the sunshine and put the baseball game on the radio. Because baseball is probably the only sport that actually works for radio. You don't need to see what it is. Dude, sitting in my backyard, beer or pina colada in my hand, ball game on, freshly cut grass, dogs shitting everywhere, making it smell. That is the absolute perfect summer day for me.
There you go.
Dude, there's nothing to talk about with the fucking Patriots. They've done nothing. AJ Brown, possibly June 1st.
I'll talk about something in regards to that.
Do we want to talk about the draft for the next 12 weeks?
No, we don't.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
I'll tell you. And I almost texted you this the other day, but I was like, I don't want to spoil, and like I knew this could take over the show, so I don't want to like spoil stuff like that. Diana Rossini in a singular afternoon was like, AJ Brown's going to get traded. The Patriots are interested. The Rams are interested. The Eagles aren't moving on their price. The Eagles aren't going to trade him. The Eagles might trade him after June 1. Like, all within the same day. I wanted to be like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I'm not invested in this in the slightest anymore. Like, it's either going to happen or it's not. Because if you're a supposed insider and you're literally just, and this isn't really shade to Diana, they all do it. She just happens to be reporting on this specific subject that's very near and dear to us, like, firsthand compared to most people. It's just infuriating because I could have literally been out there, paid for a blue check mark on Twitter and done the same exact thing right now, and nobody would have known the difference. It drove me nuts.
So my boy Joe Castro, who's obviously, we know Joe, Philly TP, has some insights into the Philadelphia Eagles. He has told me, like, straight up, AJ Brown will be an Eagle next year or this season. Like, he's told me.
No.
You don't think so?
No. Not 0.0% chance.
Because he doesn't want to be? That's what I'm hearing.
Because he doesn't want to be there. In fact, the one thing I do believe today to like push this forward after the Jalen Waddle trade, which I do think influences the Patriots, basically said like he prefers to be traded, which is basically him saying like, I know what's going on. I know what the Eagles are doing. I am going to get out of here.
But if Rosen wants, I think if you want the Eagles to eat that cap, you're going to have to give up a lot, or you got to wait till June 1st.
Well, I think that's what is ultimately going to happen at this point.
I don't like those late season trades, to be honest with you.
No, I'll tell you why.
I think a wide receiver.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I win.
Yeah.
I think a wide receiver needs time to acclimatize himself to a team. And I know we haven't even started camp yet in June, but I think that work actually starts in March, April, when they join the team, when they start doing mini camps, when they're in the facility, they're talking to the coaches. I think June 1st is too late to bring a player in.
I don't know if it's too late. It's definitely not preferred. I think if you're Mike Vrabel at that point, you're just going like, listen, this guy's a pro. I know him. He knows what he's doing. He'll be fine by June. If anything, it'll give him more time to rehab his knees or whatever.
But can I put one more caveat in there?
Sure.
It's not just acclimatizing to the team. Unless they've told AJ Brown, you're for sure going June 1st. Where's he going to live? Where's his family going to live? Does he have a place? That's all things he needs to take care of now in June, not in March.
Right. And that does pose a logistical problem, to your point.
Yeah, I think, to me, I want a player when June, July, August comes around, 100% focused on football. And I'm not saying these guys can't multitask. I'm not saying that I can't move and give my best at work. I'm not saying that. But you know how it is, right? You go in the locker room, you get a text, hey, the apartment you want is no longer available. Then you walk into a meeting. You're maybe 90% concentrating. 10% of you is like, well, fuck, I wanted that place. Yeah. Right? Like, that's my only concern.
I think the biggest thing that, and I'm not going to make fun of Joe here, but I think I told you last week, I kind of got into it with a Philly fan. And Philly fans have a different mentality than Boston fans. I don't want to say we're objective, but there's certain things that when we look at it, we don't like fool ourselves, right? And I think what a lot of Philly fans are doing is they're kind of using the old school argument of like, we paid him, he's just going to play here, like it's his obligation to play out the contract. Like, guys, that hasn't happened in the NFL in a decade. There are very few, especially of those elite caliber guys, if they want to be traded, will finish out their contract somewhere. That's just the way the NFL works now, right?
Yeah, and I'm not doubting you, but I think there was I remember when the Gronk wants to leave the Patriots rumors were going around. I remember a lot of people being like, no, Gronk knows where his where his bread is buttered. Gronk loves Boston. And then we found out he wanted out he just wanted to play Tom. As soon as Tom Brady left, he was out the door. Like, he wanted nothing. When there was rumors that Brady wanted out of New England, are you kidding me? You think he wants to get out of New England? All of a sudden, he's putting out a nice post thanking everybody but Bill Belichick that he was.
Yeah, and I'm not.
We all do it,
right? And that's why I said I'm not picking on him, but it's again like Philly wants to have it both ways. They go like, oh, he's worth more, but he also wants to be here, and it's like, listen, I kind of brought it up. The Jalen Waddle trade today for the first round pick, he's only like a year younger than AJ Brown. If I was the Patriots and I had a hold up on that first round pick at this point, I think it's more so the Eagles because they would have like $50 million in dead cap and they want to spread that out. And that's more of an NFL thing than a Patriots problem. Like, I don't know. Figure out a way to make that work for that first round pick, because honestly, this is how I look at it. And this is me being objective as a Patriots fan. What have they done with that 31st pick, especially a wide receiver in the
I'll tell you what they're going to do with that. I'll tell you what they're going to do with that 31st pick, Mike. Great transition. Now I can't even make my point I wanted to make. No, I'm going to make that point anyways. Sure. I think if anything, the Jalen Waddle trade gives me optimism because apparently this discussion started at the trade deadline last year. They've been literally working on this trade for months.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes making these big moves take time. I also think that almost confirms Tyreek Hill to Kansas City.
Sure.
You don't agree?
I did see one thing with Tyreek today that said he's going to get healthy and then he's going to look at contenders. If Patrick Mahomes isn't healthy this year and they're in bad shape, I could see him on Kansas City next year. But if I
think Mahomes will be fine. Mahomes apparently at an unbelievable rate.
I think he probably will be too, but I think there's an outside chance that he could end up with the Chargers or something like that too.
There's a part of me that believes if Kansas City would have been in contention, Patrick Mahomes would have played with his ACL.
I mean, maybe.
Dude, this is the guy who dislocated his knee and missed a week.
Yeah.
He missed a week. Like, he's built different. His dad's going to jail for a long time, but he's built different.
Speaking of baseball players.
Speaking of baseball, here's what I think is going to happen this year. I think the Patriots need to shed some salary cap, obviously, to bring in A.J. Brown. And I think they're going to do it with Christian Barmore.
Probably.
I do. Because I think my pick, when you talk about what are they going to do with the 31st pick, I think he's going to fall, and I think they're going to draft Caden McDonald. I thought about it all week. And defensive lineman out of Ohio State, 6'3", 326 pounds. That Ohio defense was unbelievable this season. And I think Caden could fall to when you look at the teams that are there, I think he could fall to 31. And I think the Patriots are going to take Caden McDonald. And then they had no longer have a need for Christian Barmore on the team.
Yeah. He was due some guaranteed salary the other day. And basically it was like the Patriots had an out to cut him. And when they didn't cut him, people were like, oh, he's playing here. It's like, no, guys, that's actually a pretty good indication that he could still be traded, because the rest of his contract, and I'm going to get like into the contract nerd stuff, is very tradable for a good interior defensive lineman. And I fully agree with you. This is a guy that obviously Vrabel didn't draft. He was given a big contract by Elliott Wolf 2 years before that. And listen, I'm just going to say it. Christian Barmore has been one of my favorite players since Brady left, but he really hasn't panned out. And I know some of that's the medical stuff, but some of that is also like maturity, and the team wasn't good. And I'm doing the Bill thing here. Like, I'm okay with moving on from Christian Barmore. Like, I'm not going to get attached. I'm just going to say it. And some people are going to be like, whoa. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Do you want to hear Caden McDonald's stats?
Sure, go for it.
First of all, he's got a PFF grade of 86.5, which is pretty good. I've heard it's pretty good, Mike.
Pretty good.
It's a green. In 2025, he played 14 games, 448 defensive snaps. I mean, you got to love that. 230 of those were pass rush. 218 of those were run defense. So he's an every down interior defensive lineman. 2 sacks, 12 hurries, 1 batted ball. I mean, that's what I'm asking for. He's not a sack machine, but he can play every down. He's a big boy in that middle. I like Caden McDonald.
Yeah, and everybody's like, listen, they clearly do need edge. It's a deep edge class, and the whole nine. But clearly, Vrabel has shown that they don't mind going through the middle to get pressure on the quarterback. So
well. And I think there's edge guys in the later rounds.
Yeah.
Gabe Jackus, is that his name?
Some of those deeper guys, I'm not.
There's a dude out of Illinois.
Okay.
Gabe Jackus, which I thought the Patriots could maybe take with the late second rounder. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma is another edge guy that they could go for. I mean, even if another guy that I actually like out of Texas Tech is Jacob Rodriguez, who I think could be an edge guy. He's a linebacker, but you can run it. He could be like a Ninkovich for you, where you could line him up on the edge as well.
What was the name of the first guy you brought up?
The edge guy? Gabe Jack.
No, the interior.
Oh, the defensive lineman out of Ohio, Caden McDonald.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking up his stats while you're talking.
Yeah, so Caden McDonald he's expected to be a late first round pick.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be a perfect fall. That or like TJ Parker out of Clemson. Could be, he's an edge guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of a 6'3" edge. I'll be honest with you. I like my edges to be a little bit smaller.
I think Mike Vrabel does too. Like, if you look at all the guys that they've kind of brought in, they're all like, if you copy and paste Harold Landry into like a NFL player machine, they're all like 6'2", like the same weight type of thing. So he very clearly has a type. You know how like for years we were like, Bill Belichick loves like the 6'4", like nearly 300-pound linebacker, and Mike Vrabel clearly has a type at edge, and it's Harold Landry.
That's why Mason Thomas could be a guy. He's 6'2", 249 coming off the edge. Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker, is 6'1", 235. Like, those are the kind of guys like that. To me, that's actually my ideal guy. Mm-hmm. A 6'4", 6'3" edge is just not my cup of tea. Now, for a middle defensive lineman, 6'3", 326 is what I'm looking for to clog up the middle and the interior. Right. Actually, I would probably prefer 6'4" in the middle because you can bat the ball down.
Big. Yeah. I was going to say, how big is Milton Williams? Let me look.
I'm not sure. He's got to be about 6'4", right? 6'5"?
I'm looking at 6'3", 290.
So he's 6'3". So this guy, McDonald's, the same height as him. 326, so he's bigger than Milton.
Yeah.
Milton was a beast of a man, though. Like, I thought Milton was actually in the 300s. Like, he's a beast of a man.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to be said, and again, we're getting into kind of like nerdy stuff right now, but like on a team that has a lot of holes, you go like, oh, draft this need. I would necessarily go like, no, get somebody to put next to your best player, right? So like getting a new, fresh, like young interior defensive mind to like put next to Milton Williams in his prime. Like, that's the kind of work ethic and mentality I want to impart on a first-round pick. You know what I mean?
Can I throw something crazy at you?
Sure.
So I understand that a football season is different. I understand that a football career is different. Longevity is different. I get all of that.
Yeah.
But in baseball, hockey, basketball, you draft who you believe is the best player available.
Right.
Football is the only sport that you draft based on the positional need, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So like, okay, so I'm gonna throw out I'm just gonna throw out a name here.
Sure.
Hold on. I'm looking at the Patriots' needs right now, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So Patriots are sitting there at 31, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't pronounce this dude's name. Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon.
Kenyon Sadiq. Yep.
Kenyon Sadiq. He falls to 31, right?
If he fell to 31, you take him.
I know he's not. I know he's not.
I know. I'm just saying.
He's possible top 10. I get that, right? Yeah. I think he falls in the middle somewhere, but he's a possible top 10. But if Kenyon Sadiq falls to 31, you don't need a tight end. You're not going to take him because he doesn't fill a positional need right now.
I mean, I think they need a tight end, but
okay, but let's pretend they don't.
Right, but I know you're going by like PFF's thing, and I think a lot of teams make this mistake, and they go like, I'll use this example for Patriots fans. Like, take the third best corner available. I don't know who he is, whatever. Say he falls to 31, and you go, we have Christian Gonzalez. We don't need a corner. I'd still take him. Why is he down at 31 again?
Because now you can trade Christian Gonzalez for a first round pick and have another Christian Gonzalez. I understand Christian Gonzalez is who Christian Gonzalez. I have people already yelling at me. You think he comes on trees? I understand what you're saying, but you know what? This is where I will give Bill Bell. He did it wrong, right?
Right.
But where like he did it wrong. But you got to look at Bill Belichick. There's a lot of rumors out there that if the New York Jets don't take what's his face, the new Patriot.
AVT or whatever his name is.
Oh my God, who is he?
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yes. If the Jets don't take Elijah Vera Tucker, Cam Newton is the quarterback in 2021, and Mac Jones is playing second string quarterback somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Belichick would have got blown up for that because Tucker's suffered with injuries, and we could have had Mac Jones and whatever. But I kind of like take the player who you think is the best. I mean, again, Cole Strange. I wouldn't do it, but Bill Belichick believed that was the best player for the Patriots, or maybe that was a positional trade. I'll take that one back.
I was just gonna say. I think that was
sorry.
a
Okay,
bad,
so that's the
bad
prime.
example.
That's the prime example of drafting for need.
Yeah. So in fact, that's like if you read every draft book ever, they go like never draft for need because that's how you draft players like Cole Strange, right?
Yeah.
And for years, and like I've been talking to people about this. It's funny how this year has given me more appreciation for at least how Bill tried to manage the roster and how he tried to draft, because it was always like, no, we have a really good linebacking core and I want to keep the linebacker core strong. So we're going to continue to draft linebackers because I want that to be the identity of the team, is like hard hitting linebackers. The Eagles did the same thing. They kept trying to draft receivers. And eventually they were like, you know what, we're going to pivot to defensive line. And then they ended up with the two monsters on the defensive line and a pair of cornerbacks that are really good. And so long way of me saying, like, if they wanted to double up at a position, you picked a great one, because nobody's going to have them taking an interior defensive lineman, because they're going to go, oh, we have Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and they have a couple of depth guys that are pretty good. But
Correct.
if Mike Vrabel goes, no, we're going to keep that strong. I'm probably going to trade Christian, if not in season, at the beginning of this season or next year. So we're going to just keep that position group strong. I get it. I totally get it. It's the same thing Bill Belichick would have done. Vrabel's going to get roasted. He's going to get roasted by the Boston media, given he's going to get roasted no matter what they do. So that doesn't really matter.
So in 2010, Bill Belichick drafted Devin McCourty in the first round.
Yep.
2011 might have been one of his best draft years ever.
Yeah.
I think 2010 was Gronkowski as well. 08 was Gronkowski.
I think him and McCourty were the same draft.
Or they were 2010, right? And Hernandez.
Yeah.
2011. Like, this is the whole Belichick can't draft thing. When you talk about, like, when you think about the history of the Patriots winning Super Bowls, first round pick was Nate Solder.
Yep.
Second round pick, Shane Vereen. Marcus Cannon in the 5th round. Like, guys who had 2012, 2 first round picks, Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower.
Amazing.
Nate Ebner in the 6th round, who, I'm sorry, was a huge special team player for the Patriots. Like, a huge special team player. Like, sometimes I think people want, they think about some things, and I sit there and go, like, try to remember how the guys contributed. Like, are you ever going to turn around? I want someone right now to look me in the eye and say Matthew Slater was a terrible draft pick. Right? But if I would have told you back then,
yeah, people would have been like, what is this?
All this guy is going to do is play special teams his whole life. Right? It's revisionist history.
Yeah.
2013, outside of Jamie Collins, was a rough year for Belichick. That's the Josh Boyce, Aaron Dobson year.
Yeah.
And then, 2014, Cam Fleming, who had an impact on the team. I just say, if you go through it, like 2015, Malcolm Brown had a big impact on the Patriots Super Bowl championships. Trey Flowers also came out of that year. Pretty good player. A guy who I think is completely underrated, Shaq Mason, who I want you guys to remember Brady's final year here in New England. Shaq Mason was probably the only guy that brought any stability to the offensive line that season. Another guy who's like Joe Cardona.
Yeah, another guy. If you told somebody, oh yeah, he's going to be the long snapper for 7 years, people would be like, who cares?
Yeah. 2016, Joe Tooney.
Yeah,
not a bad pick.
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
Ted Karras also came out of that draft, which I think a lot of people may remember when Andrews went out and Karras stepped in at center, stepped in flawlessly.
Not to mention, since he's left the Patriots, he's been like one of the few points of stability on I think it's the Bengals offensive line.
100%. I don't know if you remember, because when he left the Patriots, I was already doing the show.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted that they let him walk.
Yeah. Bill was doing some weird stuff at that point.
2017 was probably the worst draft year. They only had 4 picks that year.
So I was going to say, I pulled it up too, and I'm just going to say, like, there's a very clear, like, line of demarcation when you're like, oh, like 2017 was definitely like they traded to get Brandon Cooks, and then just like
2017 they had 4 picks.
Yeah, but that they didn't have their first round pick because they traded for Brandon Cooks that year.
Yes. Correct.
So I'm just saying, like, after that, it's like Bill was just like, we don't need the draft that much.
Derek Rivers and Deatrice Weiss were the 2 big names that came out of that, 3rd and 4th rounders.
Yeah.
2018, obviously the whiff on Isaiah Wynn.
Yeah.
Even though there's a very famous rant about Sony Michel when he got drafted, I will go down forever saying that he was a successful draft pick. If Sony Michel is not a New England Patriot, they do not win their 6th Super Bowl. That entire playoff run was on the back of Sony Michel. And it was only the only thing that hurt me was that he couldn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, because he was probably the guy who deserved to win it. Him and James Devlin. It absolutely, I will say. And then a guy, Jawan Bentley, who
underrated
and kind of did off a cliff.
Yeah.
2019.
It's so funny that, like, and I'll cut in for 1 second. I still have like vivid memories of people being like, 2019 is going to be the draft that remakes the New England Patriots, because we had all these draft picks and like got Tom Brady a receiver, and like they had so many picks that they were going to fill the holes with all new young talent. And
N'Keal Harry, Chase Winovich, Jawan Williams, who Jawan Williams kept looking like he could become something.
Yeah.
I am a big Damian Harris fan, as you know.
Yeah, that's the one pick in that draft where he wasn't a bust. I just think it didn't quite work out.
And until he fell off a cliff, Jake Bailey, I thought, could have become one of the best punters in the NFL. I don't know what happened to his leg. Like, I don't know where it fell off. Then you go to 2020, which they traded out of the first round that year, because that was the first ever draft that I covered for Sportscaster, where I was on for the entire draft.
So of course they did.
And I waited right till the very end, and they had the 32nd pick, and they traded out. The next round, they take the 37th pick. They take Kyle Duggar, which again he fell off. Yeah. Everybody who turns around and talks bad about Kyle Duggar, I want you to talk to me in 2022 and 2021 when you guys were everybody wanted a Kyle Duggar jersey. You know what I mean? Josh Uche, I always liked. I thought Uche was an underrated player. I don't think they ever used Josh Uche properly.
Yeah, this was a bit, and again, I'm not trying to bash Bill, but like they weren't developing players. Bill was just like, I expect you to fill roles.
Yeah.
Here's the role, fill it. And they very clearly like weren't developing these players, because Josh Uche did have talent and just
a ton of it. Mike Onwenu, hit and miss kind of guy.
Yeah.
Now, 2021, Christian Barmore, Ramondre Stevenson, big names.
Yep.
Mac Jones, obviously.
Got you by, sort of.
Got you through. Then we had 2022, which was the last draft night that I ever hosted.
Yep.
I was sitting in this room. My desk was faced this way. And with the 29th overall pick out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, the New England Patriots took Cole fucking Strange.
As we're talking about this, maybe we shouldn't host the draft this year, because whenever we host a draft, they seem to not draft very well. Anyway, continue.
Now, going on the Bill Belichick can't draft chant,
Yeah.
I want everybody who told me Marcus Jones is a fucking gem to get off the train then, because he's a Belichick draft pick 2021. Everything else, though, for a draft that deep for the Patriots, Cole Strange, Tyquan Thornton, you were happy about Thornton.
I was, and because he just fit the prototype. It was like fast, tall, and then when you saw him, it's like, oh, he's way too skinny, like way too skinny.
I also want to say that, I skipped over this guy. I don't think that Malcolm Mitchell was a miss either.
No, we've talked about that.
Malcolm Mitchell his injuries got the best of him. And then Bill Belichick's last and final draft with the New England Patriots, I mean, Christian Gonzalez with number 17. That's not a miss at all. Kayshon Boutte, I don't think is a miss. I think in the 6th round, what the Patriots have gotten out of Kayshon Boutte, you can't say anything. You can't say anything about him. Can't say anything about him. 6th round, DeMaro Pop Douglas. Yeah. Right? Like, again, what they got out of those guys in the 6th round and what they last season, I just heard about, I think he kind of went out with a bang when it comes to the draft. Like, he brought in 3 staple players that I think could be staple players for the Patriots going forward. And I think Kayshon, if they bring in A.J. Brown, Kayshon dropping down to the number 3 receiver behind AJ and help me, Mike.
Dobbs. Sorry, I was about to cough.
Yeah, behind AJ and Dobbs. I think Kayshon Boutte is your 3 and Pop Douglas is your 4th receiver. That's a tough receiving core. That's a tough receiving core to beat.
Yeah, although it's funny, you want to talk about more smoke with the Eagles and AJ Brown. They just signed Hollywood Brown. It's kind of like a 1-year holdover, so that's kind of more indication to me that they might trade him. But there's a small part of me that thinks that they might trade Kayshon Boutte back to the Eagles if they get AJ Brown, because they play the same role, right? So, like, as much as I love that idea, I think giving the Eagles like a serviceable receiver that's on a cheap contract as a return is probably what's going to be the way. And we're just going to go, sorry, Kayshon, we love you. We weren't going to pay you. Go see if the Eagles will pay you or somebody else next year.
Fair enough. But I think going into 2026, he's going to be your 3rd receiver. And that's a great 3rd receiver to have on your team.
Yeah. Right now, definitely. And Drake May loves him. Like, that's obvious.
I also want to point out the 2024 draft, since we're on the Belichick can't draft train.
Sure.
And just talk about what the NFL draft actually is.
Ooh.
You took Drake May.
Yep.
Congratulations. You took the best quarterback available with the 3rd overall pick. I feel like I could have made that pick, Mike.
Yep.
Everybody happy with Jalen Polk?
I don't know what the hell happened to that kid.
Everybody happy with Caden Wallace? Everybody happy with Layden Robinson? Because I'm talking about the first 4 picks of the draft here.
Guys that should still be on this team, by the way, and they're nowhere to be found.
Javon Baker.
Yeah.
Marcellus Dial. Joe Milton. Okay.
Actually, Marcellus Dial might still be on there. He might be like the one player still on the team.
And Jaheim Bell. Jaheim Bell. So this is what the draft is.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just a matter of fact. This is what the draft is. If you can get 2 or 3 players that become impact players, and outside of a couple of seasons, Bill Belichick brought in 2 or 3 players that became meaningful players on the Patriots. Now, was some of that hidden by Tom Brady? Probably. But the defensive players weren't. You either played defense or you didn't. Who would you consider a great drafting team?
It's very, like, it involves a lot of
49ers?
recency bias, but like the Eagles have been good, but also like go back to before they got that first round pick from the Colts, right? In the Carson Wentz deal. They hadn't hit on a draft pick or a first round draft pick in like 2 years. So it's a lot of recency bias. But
They didn't hit on Carson Wentz.
No. I mean, they didn't, I don't know. They fleeced the Colts in that trade. But yeah, the 49ers, I mean, they basically bailed themselves out of one of the worst trades in NFL history, right?
Yeah.
They burned 3 first-round draft picks like to the ground, and it didn't matter.
No.
I'm trying to think of who else. The Buffalo Bills would have you believe they're a great drafting team.
And they're
Their
horrible.
fan base.
They're horrible.
They're terrible.
Listen, Bill Belichick wasn't that bad at drafting as people think he was. He just didn't draft in the positions that people pay attention to.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the thing. Nate Ebner was a big piece of special teams, like a huge piece. Guess what, guys? The Patriots won games in 2025 because of special teams. Right? It was not just Marcus Jones running the football back. There's a whole bunch of guys in front of him that are doing things so that he has a wide open hole to run the ball down the field. Like, nobody in the NFL is fast enough just to avoid everybody. You need all the other players in front of you. And I know it's not Nate Ebner, who, by the way, went to the fucking Olympics and then came back and played an NFL season.
Yeah, he was like the one guy that asked Belichick, can I go do this? And Bill Belichick, for like all the other roster players, would have been like, no. And he was just like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's the Olympics. He said you can't miss the Olympics.
Yeah.
But so I think at the end of the day, Bill Belichick missed on the positions that people cared about.
Yeah.
Because people don't care about special teams. They don't care about a long snapper. They don't care about defense. They really don't.
Yeah.
They really don't care about defense. They don't care about Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins and all guys who won Super Bowls for the I want to remind everybody, if not for Dante Hightower, the Patriots probably only have 3 championships right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He made a pivotal play in each of those last 3 Super Bowls to totally turn the games around.
And I think if you don't win Super Bowl 49 against Seattle, what happens after that doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Because I think the Brady-Belichick relationship deteriorates worse, and you're not winning. And I think Brady's gone before he leaves in 2020. I think Brady's gone by 2018.
I'll be real with you. I think this, other than like the whole money thing and Ross, like we talked about this a week or 2 ago, like Bill's roster ego control thing is, he decided to take a value process, like look at the wide receiver position, when I think the year he drafted N'Keal Harry, which was honestly like too late, he was like, oh, this is a position I need to invest in. And didn't have the team after that to invest in, right? Like Tom Brady wasn't there, although famously, and I bring this clip up every chance I get, right? The year he traded down for Kyle Duggar, the Vikings jumped up in front of you by 1 spot, drafted Justin Jefferson. It cuts to the Patriots draft room. He goes, Jefferson is off the board, trade the pick. So they were going to draft Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Listen, I get the whole debate, like he wouldn't have been the same player with the Patriots. You could be right, but I'm going with like what he exists as in the current NFL. Bill was going to draft the best receiver or the second best receiver in the NFL. So don't tell me he didn't necessarily know how to evaluate the talent either.
Well, and I hate that argument. Well, he would have been the same with the Patriots. You think Tom Brady would have been the same with the Cleveland Browns if that's where he got drafted?
Right.
Do you think Gronkowski is Gronk if he goes to, I don't know, whoever was shitty in 2010? Like if he's a Giant playing with Eli, like do you think Gronk is Gronk? And,
so
I want to bring this up too, because if you remember, there was a lot of conversation about this. Like Tom Brady wouldn't even talk to N'Keal Harry. Like he had a beef with Harry I don't know what happened there, but he was not. I don't know if it's because he liked Debo or DK or what it could have been. But if you remember, he did freeze N'Keal Harry out.
So Julian Edelman on his podcast has taken a couple like subtle shots at N'Keal Harry. And he's like, some guys were drafted as first round picks and you just go like on day one, that guy doesn't have it, or like there's something wrong with that guy. And a lot of the criticism of N'Keal Harry was like what people thought DK was going to be coming out. Like, oh, there's this whole posse around him, so it's going to distract him from football. And that's exactly what N'Keal Harry was. He just interviewed really well and basically like was able to hide it in front of Bill Belichick, but brought his whole like entourage with him because he was like, oh, I'm going to be the first round star that like revives the Patriots. And yeah.
Well, and revisional history is always funny too, right? Because people are always like, oh, Bill Belichick didn't even care about talent. If you interviewed well, he'd pick you. Rob Gronkowski fell asleep in the boardroom. They walked in to do the interview and Gronkowski was sleeping. Like, does people forget that story? Like, do people forget that was a reality of the Patriots, right? Like, I think there's a lot of revisionist history around things. Anywho, this is what happens in March. We talk about Bill Belichick. We spent half an hour on baseball. And I brought up a pick and Mike brought up nobody. And Thomas says, well, the receiving core that year, Edelman, Gordon, Demaryius Thomas, and AB. Remember Demaryius Thomas, how pissed he was? Because he got cut, waited, got signed, and then got cut again.
No, he got traded to the Jets.
Or got traded, and then he got hurt like 2 games later.
I remember they played the Jets, and he was just like, he was active and on the sidelines, and you could just tell. He was like, this isn't what I signed up to do this season.
Well, he was pissed too because he didn't sign with anybody else. They're like, well, wait. And then they trade Demaryius Thomas, and then AB goes nuts. Gordon tests dirty again. Like, just there's that famous shot from the Miami game, right? Edelman, Gordon, AB, and Brady on the bench. Like, what could have been?
That's another like time sink that's like stuck in my mind. Like, I can go back to that. Not even the Miami game, but that first Steelers game they played, where Philip Dorsett decided that he wanted to play football for, one game and one game only and look like the number one wide receiver that could have been. And I was like, oh my God, we don't even need AB. we're gonna be fucking fantastic. And
well, that was also the year that we brought in Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
What a year. Like, what are you on that? You got to think about that Patriots roster that year had Demaryius Thomas, Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, Mohamed Sanu, who we learned, if he doesn't have Julio Jones, is not the receiver that we thought they were. And was N'Keal Harry on that team? And N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, and N'Keal Harry was out for like 3/4
the first 6 games or something, right? It's fun to go back and reminisce and remember just like some of these certain things. I think that, again, we live in a revisionist history. People remember what they want to remember. They're going to remember what they don't want to remember. And I think that we're going to forget all about a draft that was really, really bad because Drake May was drafted. You know what I mean? Because if you take Drake May out of that equation, that's a horrible draft. If did they hit on the draft this year? That's, my boy, Trayvon, to me, did not prove that he was worthy of a second-round pick. We'll see how he does next year. Will Campbell is probably one of the sole reasons the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. Like, he was horrible. He was absolutely horrible. He was horrible. Can he improve? Maybe, probably, hopefully. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, it could be a really good draft. It could be a horrible draft.
Yeah.
I think that we remember things the way we want to remember things. And I'll always remind people, Bill Belichick did not invest in wide receiver because he didn't need to, because he had Tom Brady, because Tom Brady could turn Julian Edelman into a star. Because if Julian Edelman is drafted by any one of the other 31 teams in the NFL, Julian Edelman does not have a podcast, and he's not in the NFL 2 years later.
No, he has a podcast, and he's on with us right now, having 3 people watch.
Talking about how he played quarterback at Kent State and had a cup of coffee in the NFL with the Baltimore Ravens or whoever. You know what I mean? Like that's the reality of it. That's what Tom Brady did. Danny Amendola was nobody before the Patriots, and he was nobody after the Patriots. Don't bring up the St. Louis Rams. He was horrible with the Rams. Came to the Patriots, became a semi-star because Tom Brady threw him footballs. He went to Miami where he loved his coach, got to celebrate the Miami Miracle. The Patriots got to celebrate the Super Bowl that year. Like, that's the reality of who Danny Amendola is. Chris Hogan, 7-Eleven, open all day, decent receiver, looked like a star with the Patriots. Well, the only guy who could have been a star on his own is Gronk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Just because of the physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say this, too, like, and listen, we're all guilty of this. I kind of brought it up earlier, but, like, I've been trying to, like, pump the brakes on the Romeo Doubs signing just because – listen, how many years did you and I come out and pump up Juju Smith-Schuster and pump up N'Keal Harry and do the what if? But like realistically, better quarterback, that kind of thing, bigger target share,
Yep.
Do they have 1,000-yard receiver? Sure. So like, it's kind of like a Welker thing. Like, don't look at all the numbers. Can a change of scenery be better for these guys? Absolutely. And like one guy we didn't talk about in that receiver mess was Jacoby Myers, who ended up being, arguably one of the best Patriot draft. Well, he wasn't even technically a draft pick, but like one of the best like Patriot receivers of probably like the last 5 years.
And if you want to actually talk about a roster blunder and disaster, choosing Juju Smith-Schuster over Jacoby Myers.
Absolutely. 100%, because Jacoby Myers is still here. He's gotten better over time. He's one of the few receivers because he relies on body control instead of, athletics and ability.
Bill liked Juju, though. I don't know why. He liked, there was something about Juju because Juju burnt him probably. Because the Steelers burnt him a few times. So, and he was a guy who had to pay attention to. That was the thing. Bill Belichick did it based on who he had to pay attention to as a defensive coordinator. And we know that that's what he did. Now, we got to get out of here. We're way over time. One question, real quick, like real quick. You got a problem with Dobbs wearing 87?
No, not one.
I don't think 87 should ever be retired. The only number that should be retired for the New England Patriots is number 12. That's it.
And we could talk about this maybe next week, but I would argue I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. I know he's arguably one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Don't care.
Yep, second best of all time. Second-best of all time. And I'm sorry. Anybody who doesn't think Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end of all time is just a hater. Look at the numbers. Look at the stats. Or a homer. Look at what the guy does. Like, honestly, I hate the Chiefs. Guys, I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I hate them with a passion. Travis Kelce, in his career, a bad Travis Kelce is better than most tight ends in the league right now. So
75 should be retired. Who was 75?
Big Vince.
Oh, no.
No, because then we got to get into what about Willie McGinnis? What about Teddy Bruschi? Like, you know what I mean? What about Dante Hightower, Mr. February? I think you get it. You get in those. I think it's only Brady. Brady's the only jersey. Nobody should ever wear 12 in New England again. And that's it. Every other number has to be available. There's no other player on that team ever that I think should be number 12. Because, again, you want to get into the defensive guys. You go back to those early 2000s. I mean, everybody knows Hightower is my favorite player of all time. But you get into those early 2000 teams, Richard Seymour, Bruschi, McGinnis, when Ty Law, when Rodney Harrison came over. You're talking Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that then, nerd thing, like you go back and you watch some of those games, people underappreciate what Ty Law did in that 2001 season, because if it wasn't for him,
playing both ways.
Yeah. But Ty Law?
Yeah, Ty Law played both ways. When they had a bunch of injuries, and he played both ways.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say specifically in the games against Manning, he like friggin' ate Peyton Manning's lunch. Number one, number
Yeah.
two, in the Super Bowl, his that pick six changed the whole complexion of that game.
And I'm sorry.
Legion of Boom.
And if you go all the way back to 2001, if there's no Lawyer Malloy, that, you know what I mean? Like, we could name so many names that just had such a big impact on this team. All right, I got to go. I got work to do. It's late. Mike, love you. Tell me about those Patriots.
They're going to be legit, kid.
Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation, nation. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation, nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation.